Hello Skillr Boxers. There was once a time when 4 boxers, each with different personalities and styles, ruled the boxing world. Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard all had completely different styles and sets of skills that not only made them unique, but also created great stylistic matchups between them.
That was an entire fight encompassed in 3 minutes.
They matured together in the 1980s and fought each other as middleweights. Each one alone could be considered an all-time great, and together they were regarded as the 4 kings of the last golden age of boxing. Today, we are going to break down each one of the 4 kings, analysing the skills that made them unique, and the flaws that were exploited between them. Even more interesting is the fact that each one was able to beat another. Duran beat Leonard, Leonard beat Hagler, Hagler beat Hearns, and Hearns beat Duran. We'll start by breaking down the only boxer to beat Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime. The most evil boxer in history. A boxer who is comfortable in the uncomfortable, who enjoys pain, both taking it and inflicting it. But above all, he had tremendous skills and was blessed with innate reflexes and reactions. We will start breaking down the evil skills of Roberto Duran. With more than 100 fights, 70 knockouts, and a career spanning from featherweight all the way to middleweight, Roberto Duran is from a different breed.
A mean motherfuckers, people scared to look at him.
Devil.
His heavy punches, great distance control, and unique fighting style on the inside establish him as one of the best lightweights of all time. Still, he was able to carry all that power and innate technique to heavier weight classes and remain extremely competitive.
And this is the reason why Roberto Duran is so great. He's only 5'6". He was able to go from 135 pounds all the way to light heavyweight. But these are the things that we don't see.
Well, today we are going to break down his best skills step by step and understand his inside fighting style. So if you want to learn Roberto Duran's evil skills, this breakdown is for you. First things first, let's start with the boxing stance. Boxing stance. Duran has an offensive approach to boxing, always looking to connect with power punches and combinations. This is why he adopts a squared stance, as a squared stance leaves the rear hand closer to the opponent. From the outside, he usually uses an open guard, moving his arms to create traffic between himself and his opponent.
We would see the great Roberto Duran get verdicts, and he tries there.
A big part of his game from the outside is his use of parries and extended blocks. He uses that open guard to deflect and block punches while countering with his lead hand. As we will see later on, this open guard does have some flaws, but for now, let's start with his first skill. Distance control. One of his most underrated skills is his ability to gauge distance with his eyes and control it in all aspects, both defensively and offensively. As mentioned, from the outside he keeps an open guard, using parries and blocks. He would often parry and jab right after. When he jabs, he circles to his left, at the same time creating angles that force his opponent to constantly reposition. His jab is his best measuring tool. As we have reviewed in other breakdowns, the lead hand is a great way to measure distance to control it. In Duran's case, you'll often see him fall short with the jab, but it serves as a great tool to gauge distance and set up his power punches.
Leonard, possible flick the left jab to keep Duran away, but... Oh, there's a...
He falls short with the jab but connects cleanly with the rear hand, often catching opponents by surprise.
It's not been an effective jab though, Alan. It's not landing on Cuevas, and it's certainly not keeping Cuevas off of Duran.
On the other hand, Cuevas by nature is not a good jabber, and he gets nailed by right hand by Duran.
He also understands distance in terms of creating openings for his punches. As we will see later, when fighting on the inside, he cleverly controls the distance, making space for his shots. Defensively, his distance management is equally impressive. He knows the exact distance between himself and his opponents, often moving just enough to make their punches fall short. He doesn't overdo defensive movements, but instead moves only as much as necessary. This allows him to have great head movements and evade punches in quick succession. Another great skill of his is his ability to mix up his head movement to cut the distance. He often bobs and weaves, getting under punches to find his way to the inside, where he does his best work. Counters to the body. As mentioned, Duran has great reactions, and even though his best work is on the inside, he is excellent at mid-range. He has exceptional counters, especially his outside slip followed by a cross, countering his opponent's jabs. However, his best counters are to the body. Counters to the body after a slip or roll are rare, but Duran used them constantly.
That's right.
He would slip to the inside track and throw his lead hook to the body, or roll under punches and rip combinations. He had many different ways to counter to the body, and it is truly one of his best skills.
It'll make you miss, and then he'll go to the body. And his sequence of punches to the body, to the midsection, was out of this world. This guy hits so hard.
His bodywork in general is among the best of all time. With relentless volume and heavy hands, he broke down opponents by constantly attacking the body. Inside fighting. This is Duran's best skill without a doubt. His activity on the inside and his understanding of the clinch are second to none. He is also known for being a very tricky boxer on the inside.
Who would you say is like the most skilled fighter you ever fought?
Duran.
Duran?
Duran is going to have to make Barkley miss and counter. Duran was the most skilled fighter, but he was just so slick and tricky you had to watch him.
His main strategy is to destabilize the opponent's position. Once at close range, he would use his head and posture forward to apply pressure with it, breaking the opponent's balance.
Интернациональных отбирать титул друг у друга. Тут уже грязь идет такая небольшая. Мог бы угол Бюкенена.
From there, he would use his free hand to throw combinations, usually to the body and sneaking uppercuts to the head.
And on the ear there, about a minute to go, and this is the fourth round.
On those exchanges, he would extend his arms to block the opponent's punches. This is his hallmark technique at close range. He would use an extended block, making contact at elbow level, blocking the trajectory of the opponent's punches, gaining control of his arms.
On last to keep the crowd, he said.
He would completely neutralize the opponent this way, to then counter with his own shots.
You see?
Protected cups. 23 years old.
Other times, he would use his great head movement to evade shots. Whenever he felt the contact with his opponent break, he knew the opponent was about to punch. He would then duck under the shots, going off instinct.
Punches to the body. Went to his eye. Did he cut him? Now, Leonard throwing hard.
He also destabilized opponents by spinning them around and often driving them onto the ropes. But now let's take a look at Roberto Duran's biggest flaws. As we mentioned earlier, his open guard relies on great reactions and distance control. But if one of these attributes fails, it is a fundamentally risky strategy. Duran has one of the best chins in boxing, but that guard has gotten him into trouble, especially against fighters who knew how to set up punches and use feints, causing him to make mistakes and leave openings.
A solid right, and down goes Duran. He's just hanging a big right hand. That's it, Tim.
While his aggressive temperament made him a relentless and feared boxer, he sometimes struggled against slick, elusive fighters. At times, he grew frustrated and abandoned his technique, becoming reckless and predictable.
On the gloves by Leonard.
But you have to take the good with the bad. Roberto Duran is regarded by many as one of the greatest boxers of all time. His skills and achievements speak for themselves. One of the scariest boxers and best inside fighters of all time. Relentless, fearless, and with hands like stones. Now let's continue with the first man to knock out Roberto Duran, the scariest welterweight in history. Long, blazing fast combinations and wicked knockout power. On top of his physical gifts, he carried immense skills in that freakish frame. And just like a hitman, he could end you with one shot. Tommy Hearns, the first ever 4-division champion. At 6'2", with a 78-inch reach, Hearns was a nightmare for any opponent.
I'd rather fight Leonard and Duran than fight Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns back then, 6'1", 6'2", long arms, and the way he was doing it, man, no.
While on the pro scene, he was known as a knockout artist. In the amateur ranks, he was known as a great boxer. It was his exceptional fundamentals, taught by Emmanuel Stewart, that set the base for the dangerous fighter he became in the pros.
My favorite fight of all that I worked with, and just for his favorite fighter period, still is Thomas Hearns. As a fan aspect, I loved being with Tommy because he was always exciting and you never knew what was going to happen, but you knew something was going to happen exciting.
Well, if you want to learn all about those fundamentals and understand Tommy Hearns' best skills, then this breakdown is for you. Now, let's start with his unique boxing stance. Boxing stance. When it comes to his boxing stance, Hearns maximised his height and reach.
Both fighters 6'1".
He stood tall in a narrow stance, allowing him to bounce around the ring and utilise his jab. Hearns used a low guard, with his lead hand hanging at waist level.
Illegal.
This stance became a hallmark of his style, and as we'll see, his offense was built around that low guard. Now, let's take a look at his first skill, and one of the most remarkable ones. Jab timing. Hearns, formerly known as the Motor City Cobra, had one of the best jabs in boxing.
You do remember when Fred Huggle that far. Punching very, punches are so much slower.
He threw a fast flicker jab, similar to Larry Holmes.
What fighters do today, they do like this. That's okay, right? But if a fighter would do like this,
loosen up. That's fast. But it frustrates you.
Don't get scared.
How quick is that?
It was designed for speed,
For Ray Mercer, if Ray
aiming to use his long frame to reach as far as possible. Hearns would flick the jab to both the head and body, sometimes doubling it up.
2. The referee.
By throwing it from a low guard, like an up jab, it became much harder for opponents to read. The lead hand, relaxed and hanging at waist level, started from outside the opponent's center vision. Coupled with his speed and reach, Hearns' jab was a nightmare for his opponents.
Hearns, who just walks away. Moving good. Bad move. Like he's setting them up here.
What stood out most about his jab, though, was his exceptional timing. Hearns would often catch his opponents while they were resetting or when they found themselves in bad positions, such as when they were squared up or moving laterally.
Plan to give away the first 4 rounds.
He also had the ability to time his jab perfectly between his opponent's punches. As they threw, he would slightly move his head to the side in an outside slip, allowing their jab to miss while landing his own. With his longer reach, Hearns often hit while his opponents missed, setting up shots. Another great ability of the hitman was his deep understanding of setups.
The corner of the left eye of Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran up and will. A solid right and down goes Duran. Stinko Gill. He's just hanging a big right hand. That's it, Tim. Anytime you right hand.
Once Hearns established his jab, it allowed him to set up his lead hook.
Plan was to come out firing.
The opponent would often try to parry the straight shot, to which Hearns would adjust with a looping lead hook, catching them on the side.
Starts flirting and starts throwing punches.
He also had a devastating liver shot,
Showing no respect for Michael Elijah, and now he goes.
which he set up by shifting his weight to his front foot and to the side, raising his opponent's guard and exposing the body. This liver shot would also open up an opportunity again for his lead hook. Hearns masterfully alternated between targeting the body and the head,
That right hand to the body. The worst that's going to happen is he's going to...
using feints to second-guess his opponents and force mistakes. He would often go low, with the cross and then change it upstairs. His setups were difficult to detect, and he would perfectly sell the feints, changing directions just at the last second, making it more unpredictable. Overhand cross. His right hand was one of the deadliest punches in boxing. His jab cross combination was lightning fast, often made even more unpredictable by doubling up on the jab before throwing the cross. Thanks to his long reach, Hearns could strike from a distance his opponents might have thought was safe.
Easily put Kenshin out.
Move your eyes, you know. Right.
Opponents trying to lean or step back often found themselves caught by his incredible torque and range.
Hearns, Leonard 2. There's a right by Hearns. Big right hand by Tommy Hearns. Another one. And a left. Down goes.
Whenever opponents ducked or bent at the waist, he would change the trajectory of the punch in a looping overhand rather than across, still catching the opponent going down.
Neither fighter landed a serious punch. That right hand, the first.
That's what Tommy's got to do.
Hearns has to do is really settle down.
Hearns is trying to throw the uppercut in the right hand.
Landed the right hand, down goes Roldan.
Due to his tall frame, Hearns also developed the ability to punch down and knew how to generate power at short distances.
In the latter stages of round 8.
Hearns' timing made his right hand a formidable counterpunch as well. Using an outside slip, he could counter over his opponent's guard with a devastating right cross. But while Hearns' skill set was extraordinary, he wasn't without flaws. Flaws. Although he was excellent at controlling distance with his footwork and his lead hand, he had a bad habit of pulling straight back with both hands. While posting with the lead hand can be an effective way to control range, Hearns would sometimes extend his rear hand as he retreated, a risky habit that left him vulnerable to big punches.
He's got his head up. There you go.
Additionally, his low guard, which was so effective at long range, became a liability when he was within punching range. At close distances, Hearns often engaged in unnecessary exchanges, exposing his chin and getting hurt.
Again, Hagler bloody.
Despite these flaws, Tommy Hearns was a nightmare for any opponent. Fast hands with an insane reach and the power to hurt even the toughest opponents. Now let's continue with the only man who dared to go straight at Hearns to hunt him down. The Ultimate Warrior.
War, that's what's on my mind.
A boxer who could both outbox and pressure his opponents with a relentless but calculated approach that steadily broke them down. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, often regarded as the greatest middleweight of all time, was both relentless and technically brilliant. He had a unique arsenal of skills, backed by a relentless strategy that allowed him to destroy the best in his division. So if you want to see the technical side of destruction, then this breakdown is for you.
I realize now what they want to see. Every championship fight, they want to see a knockout. They want to see somebody knocked down. They want to see somebody beat up. So, hey, they're talking to Marvin Hagler. They're talking to the right man.
Now, let's start from the base. Boxing stance. When it comes to his stance, Hagler maintained a solid and responsible high guard. He fought in a neutral posture, with his chin tucked, smoothly transitioning his weight from back to front foot, usually keeping his weight slightly forward. Hagler was one of the rare fighters who could effectively switch stances. While he was more comfortable boxing from the southpaw stance, he also controlled the orthodox stance both offensively and defensively. As we'll see later, he didn't just fight from both stances. He was a true switch hitter, seamlessly transitioning between the mid-combination to gain an advantage in his attacks. But now, let's take a look at his first skill. Active at mid-range. When it comes to Hagler's style, he has solid inside game and can also use his footwork from the outside. However, where he excels is mid-range.
Good job. It seems that Hagler, and there is a left,
which is the space where two boxers can just reach each other with their punches.
Respect for the punching power of Mugabe.
Because mid-range keeps boxers constantly in punching range, staying active is crucial, and Hagler mastered this concept.
With his own right lead, but with the ability, 1 minute 5 seconds into the round.
Of course, many feel this is the advantage of Hagler.
Duran is finding Hagler a relatively elusive.
Especially at the beginning of fights, he used level changes and pre-slips while pressing on his front foot to feint opponents and stay off the center line.
Almost typical.
These pre-slips and level changes were not only crucial for defense, but also helped him transition seamlessly into offense, as we'll see in his next skill. This constant movement and change of head slots are reminiscent of modern boxers, like Vasily Lomachenko, who uses a similar tactic. At mid-range, Hagler also showcased a highly versatile defense. His high guard was always well positioned, and he remained mindful of his free hand whenever throwing punches, making it difficult for opponents to counter or catch him in between shots.
Well, he just threw, but Simpson was ready for it.
Looping like
Will that take something out of it?
You know, Tim, when you're a little tired, Richard Steele's doing a good.
His punch selection was exceptional, and his uppercuts, especially at mid-range, were well-timed and devastating.
Come out a much more popular.
Every day, Hagler fought several rounds.
Other him. There is blood on Hagler now too, but it is front.
One of his best weapons was his power jab.
Straight dart down the middle.
Hagler would often catch opponents in between their punches, sometimes even hurting them with it.
It's going to eventually go now as well as on top of the left eye.
He was also extremely effective at doubling and tripling the jab, using it with pinpoint accuracy while circling around his opponent.
And scores. Since the opening bell has nothing to do with the cut. He has absorbed an awful lot of punishment. 2 right hands.
He also has a great jab variation that's in his arsenal of leaping shots. As mentioned earlier, Hagler's constant movement and level changes allowed him to transition effortlessly from defense to offense. When lowering his weight, he would bend his knees and spring forward, generating explosive power with leaping shots.
Big fight also. He's doing the correct thing.
This level change also served as a feint. Opponents would often react by overparrying, creating openings for Hagler to land more cleanly.
Blood gushing forth.
His main leaping shots were the jab and the hook. The leaping jab allowed him to close the distance quickly and set up follow-up punches.
By Hearns. Hagler still looking for
In the fight for sure. Tim, he's looking to nail. This is a key round.
Back from Hagler.
And solid punches.
His leaping hook, often referred to as a gazelle punch, was used both to cover distance and land with devastating force.
Oh, a Richard's mouthpiece out. Bend around and Hagler is all over it.
These leaping shots added to his relentless pressure, giving his opponents little room to breathe. And when combined with one of his most remarkable skills, they became even more effective. Switching hitting. In boxing, you don't just fight with your hands, you also fight with your feet.
Are you going to fight left-handed or right-handed? I'm going to fight with my feet.
Hagler was just as dangerous from the southpaw stance as he was from orthodox. He could fight an entire round in one stance and then switch to the other in the next, completely confusing his opponent. even more impressive was his ability to switch hits while attacking. He could do it in different ways. Going forward, changing stances as he stepped with the back foot forward.
Well, he's really tired now. And shows this time under the eye, actually.
Or going backwards, changing stances as he stepped with the front foot backwards.
I'd rather fight him on.
As we mentioned, he would also mix it up before lunging with an attack, switching stances right before throwing a gazelle hook. Hagler would also mix these two skills to pressure the opponent even more. He would often lunge with an attack from one stance, closing the gap with the opponent. Once he was close to the opponent's instinct would be to exit to the open side, in this case the rear hand side, as the other side is blocked by the lead. As the opponent escapes, Hagler switches stances, and now his rear hand turns into his lead, trapping the opponent again.
Another right behind an uppercut. Hagler right back on his man. What a jab. Brilliant jab. And coming in under. He's tired.
In the Mugabe fight, Hagler turned completely around when he missed.
But every style has its disadvantages. So let's take a look at Hagler's flaws. Flaws. While his skills make for relentless pressure, lunging forward and switching stances have inherent fundamental risks that can cause trouble. Hagler would often lunge forward head first, which made him susceptible to counter uppercuts.
His viewpoint, and the score scheduled for 12.
Whenever an opponent was able to time him, he could anticipate Hagler coming in from a more solid and balanced position. As we know, switching stances has its own risks, often leaving you out of position in vulnerable spots. In the case of Hagler, he sometimes would square up to the opponent, not fully switching stances.
Throw a lot of punches the first 3 rounds. He used up a lot of energy trying to cut off the ring. Is he missing? Whoa!
But overall, Hagler was one of the best middleweights in boxing history, if not the best, with a remarkably solid defense, the ability to outbox, and on top of that, relentless pressure.
And they're saying that's it, that's all. Braverman is saying stop.
Finally, let's break down the boxer who was able to beat them all. Probably the quickest hands in boxing history. A slick counterpuncher with lightning fast combinations and footwork as sweet as sugar. Sugar Ray Leonard was one of the most talented and complete boxers ever.
I think Sugar Ray Leonard is the best fighter of all times to me. His skills, was incredible. I just think it was incredible.
His speed, precision, and intelligence in the ring made him a truly special boxer, capable of defeating legends like Duran, Hearns, Benitez, and Hagler. But all this talent and innate ability was carefully calculated and shaped in training. He was a true craftsman who would outsmart his opponents and visualize his fights to carry out the game plan in perfect fashion.
What I would do with fighters, I would visualize, I would choreograph fights in my head. So I would envision this and I would write the script and I would carry it through.
Today, we're going to do just like him and break down his fight sequences, analyzing the techniques that made him such a special boxer. So let's start by taking a look at his boxing stance. Boxing stance. Starting with his base, Leonard fought in a narrow stance with his feet close together. This narrow stance, as opposed to a wide stance, allowed him to move quickly around the ring and constantly change directions, making him more elusive from the outside. Even though he had a defensive approach, He fought more squared to his opponent and maintained a tall posture. At times, he would crouch forward to bait his opponent and make them miss. He would stay squared while facing his opponent, but kept his head off the centre line, moving from 10 to 2 o'clock to remain elusive. Leonard also maintained an open guard with his hands at shoulder level, constantly moving, using pre-slips and parrying shots from the outside. This combination of constant head movement and pre-slips allowed him to exploit one of his best skills: counterpunches. Leonard's constant head movement and awareness in the ring gave him the ability to seamlessly transition into counterpunches of slips and pullbacks.
As you throw that right hand, I'm coming in.
That came on the heels of a pretty good.
He would often bait his opponents, waiting for them to throw before pulling back and using his back foot like a spring to come back with a quick jab counter. His speed and deep understanding of weight distribution made this technique highly effective for him.
Reyes controlled the fight once again, left hand.
Leonard had many ways to counter, often bringing his power hand into play.
He summoned up quite a lot at age 30.
After defending a shot, he could quickly transition into combinations, making his opponents miss
Leonard is going after
and sneaking in multiple punches to rack up points.
Good combination by Leonard.
Some counters came off blocks and parries from his open guard,
Sneaky uppercut to the inside, Ray.
while others originated from slips to either the inside or outside, enabling him to quickly counter from the loaded side.
The fight doesn't change. He dictates the fight. It's 27th fight.
But to execute these counters effectively, Leonard needed an exceptional understanding of distance and a swift footwork. Leonard's footwork is one of the most eye-catching aspects of his style. He had some of the quickest feet in boxing, which he used to evade shots and set the tone in his fights, often frustrating his opponents.
Now you give Leonard this much rest back. Right hand by Leonard, a left to the body.
He relied on a lot of lateral movement, constantly changing directions and making it difficult for his opponents to cut off the ring.
My favorite fighter is Sugar Ray Leonard. I was watching a lot of Ray Leonard fights. Hagler? Leonard. Yeah. Duran, Leonard, second fight. I was impressed how Leonard was moving all 12 rounds without stopping. You know, sometimes if he stop, he do combination and he move again.
Yeah. He's going to have to find it from somewhere. I would have been a little more emotional if I was in the corner.
Leonard also incorporated feints into his movement, forcing his opponents to reset and giving him time to reposition himself.
He is in there boxing and not standing flat-footed.
These feints and his constant changes in direction made it incredibly challenging for opponents to close the distance. Even when an opponent managed to get closer, Leonard's slick head movement acted as a second line of defense.
Apartment in New Carrollton, Maryland. Here in red, bobbing and weaving now, slowing down the pace a little bit there.
His ability to quickly shift to offense while moving laterally or backing away allowed him to catch his opponents off guard, especially when they were in an offensive mindset and chasing him. Quick punches. Leonard's greatest weapon was his incredible hand speed. His jab in particular was outstanding.
He looked at me and I did this and a pow! Oh, I love that part.
Sugar Ray is oozing confidence suddenly. Look at that.
A flicker jab that was both fast and accurate, allowing him to control fights from the outside and set up his quick 1-2 combinations. Leonard's hallmark, however, was his rapid flurries on the inside.
They were throwing punches. You can hear them. They were two, but they sound like fucking one punch. You know how magnificent your speed have to be for that?
These lightning fast combinations carried significant power despite their speed, leaving opponents struggling to evade punches and often resorting to covering up until the storm passed. But without a doubt, his best punch is the lead hook.
Of the challenger. Combinations, oh, and so long.
Whether leading or countering, his left hook was quick and precise. Leonard often used his rear hand to disrupt his opponent's rhythm and load up his hook.
One right to the chin of Leonard, didn't move him, but it was a
Pumping that jab anymore.
And the Hearns legs don't.
For example, by throwing a rear hand, typically across, Leonard would shift his weight onto his front foot, perfectly setting up his lead hook.
But
his understanding of punching mechanics allowed him to use this momentum to throw a devastating, lightning-fast hook. He often threw it in a loose whipping motion, almost like a slap, prioritizing speed and precision while still delivering a powerful punch.
Oh, see, when they say hook, they throw hook. I don't like it. It's not a hook. It's almost like a slap.
While Leonard was one of the most complete and talented boxers, he did have some flaws. His lateral movement, though exceptional, occasionally left him vulnerable. When moving laterally, he had to square up to the opponent. Some boxers used to anticipate Leonard's moves and catch him with straight shots, stepping in as he was squared up.
good round for Thomas Hearns. Parts of this round in the first. Those jabs don't hurt, they look pretty.
Additionally, Leonard's tendency to fight tall in a straight up posture made it difficult for him to duck under shots, forcing him to rely heavily on pullbacks and parries. This sometimes left him exposed and led to him being caught by his opponents.
Standing too straight up. Too tall, man. It's Leonard too. There's a right by her.
Despite these flaws, Sugar Ray Leonard remains one of the most complete and talented boxers in history. He was able to beat the best of the best in his era with skill, strategy, and lightning fast punches.
Again, Larry Bond's right hand is down around.
When you look at each one's career, all of them accomplished extraordinary things on their own. But it was the tough competition they faced in each other that pushed them to elevate their skills to new heights. But now, we would love to know your opinion in the comments. Who is your favourite of the four kings? Let us know. And if the video was interesting, you can find more on our channel. And to your left, we have chosen a video that we thought you may like.